Hello everyone, welcome to Everything Football Limitless time. Match day 4 Limitless. If you've decided to play a Limitless chip in match day 4, I have come up with the best team for match day 4. Personally, I don't think it's the best time to play a Limitless this particular match day. I think the last 2 match days were great, and then there's maybe a couple of others that are coming up. But if you've decided to play a Limitless this match day, depending on how your team looks, if you'd already planned to play it before the season started, and also sometimes you might find yourself in a situation where many of your players are injured and you don't have enough transfers, and maybe you've played your wild card already, and then you just need to play a Limitless, no problem. So I've come up with a team that I think will do the job in match day 4, and let's get to it straight away without wasting any time at all. And the first player I have picked up in this team, we have to go to Barcelona. Barcelona have been absolutely incredible in terms of scoring, and they are going to play against Red Star Belgrade, who've conceded 10 plus, well over 10 plus goals already so far in the Champions League. I think it's 11 if I'm not wrong. And listen, even if Red Star kept 3 clean sheets out of 3, I think Barcelona have just been absolutely incredible. And yes, it's an away fixture, but I think you have to double up, maybe even triple up on them. So Rafinha has to be in that team, and Lamine Yamal has to be in that team as well. Now, Rafinha has been delivering a lot recently, especially in the last couple of Champions League games, more than Yamal, but I think you have to double up. Now, you can also choose Lewandowski. Lewandowski can also do the job, especially if you want to triple up, no problem. I don't know if they're definitely all 3 of them going to start, or if one of them is going to be rested or something, but I'm assuming all 3 of them are going to start, and then maybe if a couple of them are taken off, then that could happen. So those are the 2 I've picked from Barcelona. I think they kind of have to be in your team. You have to have Barcelona cover. If you decide to go for a defender from them, then absolutely no problem as well. Next player I've picked is from Dortmund. Dortmund also have a very, very good fixture, and they did score a couple of goals against Real Madrid. They gave them a scare until Real Madrid absolutely destroyed them in the second half. So we've seen that Dortmund can score goals. They also scored 7 against Celtic. So I have gone with Guirassy up front. Now you can also go for Adeyemi. He's missed the last few games with the injuries. So if we hear something about him definitely making the team, I think is a good option to have in the team. But for now, I'm going to go with Guirassy up front. He started 2 of the games. Let me just confirm that for you. And then one of them, I think he was off the bench. So against Club Brugge, he played 31 minutes. Celtic and Real Madrid, he played both of them, 70 minutes and then 90 minutes. And up against Sturm Graz, I think that's a good fixture for Dortmund, and that is why I have doubled up on them for this Limitless chip, and that is Schlotterbeck at the back. So Schlotterbeck would be a great option, always great in terms of the ball recoveries and all that, and this could be a clean sheet game for them. So that is a double up on Barcelona and Dortmund so far. Next up, let's go to the defense. Let's go to Atalanta. Atalanta have not conceded a goal in the Champions League so far. They've been scoring a bunch of goals in their leagues as well. I've watched their games like 4 or 5 times this season, and they've been absolutely incredible. They played against Arsenal as well early in the season. They kept a clean sheet. They could easily have won that game. Shame they didn't win the Celtic one. I think that was a bad result for them, but they did keep a clean sheet in both of those games. They're playing against Stuttgart. Stuttgart is a very good team as well. They're not an easy team in the Champions League or in the Bundesliga, but Atalanta have kept 3 clean sheets so far out of 3, so I think we have to go for them. So it's between Kolasinac and Zappacosta, but I've decided to go for Kolasinac because of the ball recoveries. So he picked up 6 ball recoveries against Arsenal. He picked up an assist against Shakhtar, 9 points there, and then he picked up another 5 ball recoveries against Celtic. He's played 78 minutes, played 90 minutes, and played 90 minutes in the first game as well. So I think Kolasinac is the pick for me in the Limitless chip. And then I've also gone for an Inter Milan defender. Now, the game between Inter Milan and Arsenal, I'd not be surprised if it ended up being a 0-0, depending on how seriously both teams will take this game. It's a home game for Inter Milan, so I think they'll be ready for it. The last home game they played, they drew 4-4 Juventus, but I don't see it being like that. Against Arsenal in the European games, the way Arsenal playing these games away from home against Inter Milan, against maybe a PSG or an Atalanta, like it's more of a, let's relax a bit and try and get a clean sheet fast. So if that is the case, and it ends up being a 0-0 and you still have your defenders from Inter Milan and Arsenal, then you could easily enjoy yourself that week. So I've gone for Bastoni still in the team. You could also go for Ryan goal if you prefer, maybe a Saliba or someone. But for now, I've gone for Bastoni from Inter Milan. I don't want to have too many players from that game. It's a tough game. In the Limitless, we target the weaker teams and a couple of players who've been doing well, so you don't really want to have a lot of the big team. For me personally, when I play my Limitless, and I played it in match day 2, I looked at the fixtures for Man City, looked at the fixtures for for Bayern Munich, for Barcelona, those kind of teams. I think Barcelona had young boys. Man City had, I think, Slovan. Those are the teams I look at, and then I triple up on like 3 of the teams, and then I go for it. So, Inter Milan, that's the pick from there. I've also gone for Mohamed Salah from Liverpool. I don't think Leverkusen is an easy fixture, but I can see it being a high scoring one, something like a 2-2 or something. So if you want to go for a Vats or a Diaz as well, I think it could work. And Salah on penalties as well, always gets involved in the goals and all that. Last game against Leipzig, 7 points. He got an assist. The previous game against Bologna, he also scored and picked up player of the match, assisted as well. The first one against AC Milan is the one that he didn't deliver. But Salah is always a starter. You can't see him being on the bench. He always scores. He scores against big teams a lot over the years. So I can see him scoring in this one as well. So I've gone for Salah. And many people won't afford Salah, especially the ones who are not playing the Limitless. He's only owned by 26%. So if you have the Limitless this week, you can have him in your team. Double up, I think it's a bit too much. Also, defensive-wise, I've not gone for any defender from Liverpool. Now, you can argue for Grimaldo from that particular fixture of Frimpong. Frimpong started on the bench last time. I usually have Grimaldo myself because of the attacking, but you can see Liverpool scoring. I've said 2-2, so you're not getting any clean sheet there. So you're really depending on the attacking return from Van Dijk or Trent or Grimaldo or Frimpong. And I decided not to do that. I think there's better options this week. So better options like who? Better options like Hakimi over at PSG. What a goal he scored last time. So PSG up against Atletico Madrid. Atletico Madrid have not been doing that well in the Champions League so far. They conceded 4 against Benfica, and Hakimi is always an attacking threat, and that is what you want in terms of your defenders. You want them to be almost like wingers in your team. So I've gone for Hakimi, always a great pick. I usually don't have him in my regular team, but whenever you're playing a Limitless or a wildcard with a couple of weeks to go, is always a good pick. 7 points against Girona, he kept a clean sheet, and then also against PSV, he did score a goal and he picked up player of the match. So not bad. And against Arsenal, ball recovery is 5, not bad at all. So if it's a game where he doesn't concede too much, I can only see Atletico scoring 1 in that game. I've gone for Hakimi. Next up, let's go to the last defender, and who I've picked, I've gone to Aston Villa. They are playing against Club Brugge. You can also even go for the attacker. I've looked at players like Watkins, even a McGinn, even a Tillemans, but I decided to go for Konza. Martinez could be a good pick as well in goal. Actually, I've gone for Emiliano Martinez as well in goal, but I'm a bit worried about the doubler, but they kept a clean sheet against Bayern Munich, and they also kept a clean sheet against Bologna. They've actually kept 3 clean sheets out of 3, Aston Villa. So that is really good. Club Brugge, I have this feeling that Club Brugge could score, but if you're feeling brave, Cons and Martinez, both of them in your team. If you're not feeling brave, then you can have David Raya ahead of Emiliano Martinez in goal. But I've doubled up on them. I think that could work magic for you. So let me just confirm this. So yeah, they're playing on the second day. A bit risky to double up on the second day, but it depends on how much you trust that particular team. And I think they will play the early kickoff. Yeah, they will be playing the early kickoff as well, so you'll get to see the team news and all that. So for me, you can double up on them if you prefer on your Limitless. I don't think there's too many teams with too many good fixtures this particular week, like Arsenal playing against Inter Milan. Both teams could easily score unless it goes with a 0-0. Man City against Sporting, I can see both teams scoring as well. Liverpool, Leverkusen, I can see both teams scoring. Real Madrid against AC Milan, I can see both teams scoring. So it's not an easy week to pick defenders. Speaking of Real Madrid scoring, who's going to score? Well, I've gone for Vinicius in that game as my pick. You can always pick him or Mbappe, one of them. Up against AC Milan. AC Milan have not been that great. They've been conceding goals in the Champions League. So Vinicius and Madrid, they pumped goals past Dortmund last time out in their comeback, and in the derby they were shocked, but Vinicius I think has something to prove now ever since that Ballon d'Or thing. So 3 goals last time against Dortmund. Let's see how many goals he's going to score this time. I think he's a good pick. He hadn't scored before that, but I think he's a good one for this week against AC Milan. He'll want to prove to people what he can do. So Vinicius. The last 3 picks I have gone for, I've gone back to Man City. Now, this one is not a must-have. I've had a hard time picking this one in the team. That is Phil Foden, but he was in my Limitless team. The time he was in my Limitless team in match day 2, he gave me 14 points. And last week, he picked up 11 points. So I also had him in the Limitless team for last week. He's been playing in the Champions League. Man City do have a few injuries, so there's always a possibility they could decide to rest him in that game. But that is where now you want to have a good team because he is playing on the first day. If he doesn't deliver, you just sub him out. And I think it's a really good pick. In terms of Man City, it's either him or Haaland. And I'm not going to go for Haaland for this particular one. I think there's other better strikers with easier fixtures, like strikers with easier fixtures, not better strikers. I don't think there's too many better than Haaland. So I've gone for Foden, and then up front, my last striker, Harry Kane is my pick. He's always incredible in the Champions League in terms of finishing on penalties and all that. He rarely gets subbed off, so Harry Kane up front to finish the forward line. And then lastly, in terms of midfield, I'm going to go for Jude Bellingham, Real Madrid. But again, not a must to have Jude Bellingham. This one is usually a case of, he's highly owned and stuff. So if you don't have him, you never know what is going to happen. 22%. The last season he was on by like 70%. Now, there's a couple of players there that you don't have to have. Bellingham is one of them. And also, I'd say maybe a Bastoni or someone. Even a double up on Aston Villa don't have to have, because there's other players they can talk about there. I'm going to come to the last goalkeeper. Someone like a Vats, very good. I think it's going to deliver against Liverpool. I think I can see that being a high-scoring game. If Adeyemi is fully fit, you can have him in that midfield instead of a Bellingham, and double up on Dortmund forward line as well, triple up on them in the team. Pulisic, Real Madrid have been conceding goals, so you can go for like a Pulisic as a differential. Kylian Mbappe instead of Vinicius, you can always do that. I think Dembele as well for PSG up against Atletico Madrid. PSG have been terrible so far in the Champions League, but listen, Atletico Madrid have not been defending well, and if I can see PSG winning 2-1 in that game, I can see Dembele getting a return. If he's available for that game, there's been a lot of drama with Dembele and the team and the coach this season, but I think he will play. And then Grimaldo, if you prefer Liverpool defender or Leverkusen defender, and then Raya in goal instead of Martinez, that could be an option as well. The last goalkeeper I've gone for is a Monaco goalkeeper, mainly because the team is playing. They've not really scored a goal so far in the Champions League, so I've gone for Con. Bologna, 3 games, 0 goals. So I've gambled on having Con in goal from Monaco. So that is the Limitless team I've come up for those who are playing the Limitless this week. Personally, I don't think it's a good week to play a Limitless, but listen, still a great team. Martinez, Con, Schlotterbeck, Kolasinac, Bastoni, Hakimi, Konza, Bellingham, Foden, Salah, Yamal, Rafinha, Guirassy, Vinicius, and Kane. I've also given you 7-8 different options that you can go for in terms of other players you can pick. So let me know if you're playing a Limitless, who you're going for, who you're going to captain. Let's see, the 5th, if you go this team, I think Vinicius is a good pick. We had to go between Vinicius and Guirassy. The 6th, definitely a Barcelona player. So remember, Lewandowski as well could be an option. If you decide to go for him up front, you don't have to worry about your budget. On a wildcard, you can't afford all of these players, but on a Limitless, you can definitely afford all of these players. So I appreciate you guys watching. Hit the like button, support the channel. This channel is not monetized, by the way, so just hit the like button just to support the channel. Help it to grow in terms of fantasy football, Champions League fantasy. Usually post the FPL in the community tab as well. And yeah, appreciate you guys watching. Thank you, and I'll catch up with you on the next one.